there, Tall Man Clan. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Robert, aka the Tall Man. This is my lovely wife, Lisa, aka Mrs. Tall Man. Not that anyone ever calls her that. Welcome to the show. We hope you enjoyed the little highlights of today here at sea and a couple other little things before. And we like to do that before we start every show, is show you a little bit of what's been going on here. Tonight, we are going to talk about decks 3 and 4. Not necessarily just talk about it, but we are going to show you in great detail. Okay? But before we get to that, little housekeeping notes. If this is the first time you're joining our stream, you know what to do, right? Right? Thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We stream live every night while we're on the ship because we're coming to you live at this very second from the Celebrity Ascent, the world's newest cruise ship. And so without further ado, Desiree, we'll get to that in just a minute. By the way, thank you so much for the super sticker.
Yes, thank you.
We can't go any further until we show you balcony cam. That is literally a live look right outside our infinite balcony, which we're technically sitting on right now. If you're not sure what that is, if you're new to sort of the infinite balconies, last night we did a stream covering 13 plus cabins on this ship. You can go back to our channel and find that. But that is what the look out of our balcony looks like.
I am totally loving the infinite balcony, by the way.
Oh my gosh, it is really super cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's our first infinite balcony. We've never had one before, so.
Yeah, love it.
But you guys, I think, are here tonight, at least in part, to see decks 3 and 4. So without further ado, let's get to deck 3. Hey there, Tall Man Clan. Welcome back. As you can see, we are on deck 3 of this brand new ship, the Celebrity Ascent. And you can see from the red dot, we are here. Okay. One of the neat things about this ship is when you're close to an elevator shaft, they have a lot of information for you. There's also these sort of, I don't want to call it placard because it's a piece of glass, but aft is this way. And so these are the public areas that are to the aft and the decks that they're on. And these are the public areas that are forward and beyond. But if you've followed us before, we try to be as methodical as possible. So we're gonna go to the back and check out the restaurants first. So here we go. We go over to the right now. If we go all the way there, there's cabins down there. So we're gonna do cabins at a later time. So that means we have to stay to the left. Now the reason why I showed that to you is there's a lot of the decks that they don't run all the way through. And so it can be a little confusing on day one because you can't get there from here, but you learn it pretty quick. All right, so we are all the way in the back of the ship now, and here are two of your main restaurants. This is Normandy, and this is Tuscan. All right, so we're gonna start on the right. Since we were gonna go down the right, again, here is Normandy. I'll take a look at the decor in here. Love the big chairs. Lovely. It's just, love the decor. Yeah. All right, so there's your Normandy. By the way, every single chair in this ship is super, super comfortable. I don't know what they are, but they're really comfortable. Nice little art installation here, like floating crystals that go all the way up, right? All right, so then we're over to Tuscan. Now, each of these public restaurants has a different theme. I say public restaurants, there's 4 main dining areas. And so each of the 4 will have something specific to its dining room, their specialty. Like upstairs, which you'll see in a little bit, is Cyprus. It's a Greek infused, if you will. So there's some Greek infused foods on the menu, but they also all serve the same thing. All right, so here's your views and the decor of the Tuscan restaurant. Okay. So that is that. So we are going to now begin to move forward. All right. There's tons of public restrooms, which you will see as we go. I'll try to remember to point them out. But the signage is really good. I know on a lot of ships sometimes it's hard to find the public restrooms. Not on this ship. And you just wave your hand in front, the door slides open, and you're in the restroom. Okay? So if you're in need of a restroom and you're in a public area, you will have no problem finding them. Okay? Another neat thing here is right over here. So if you look behind these baffles, that's the outside of the ship. So they sort of, as an art installation, they left this area behind here exposed. There's glass on the bottom and there's glass up here on the top. So mirrors, sorry. Well, it's glass, but it's mirrors. So it makes it seem like it goes on much further than it actually does. But it's a really neat art installation. You can actually see some of the writing, you know, from when they were initially cutting the steel up and stuff. So I just thought that was neat. We just went down just a little ramp. All right, so this area here, this is your sort of concierge area. Each of these little desk areas serves a different purpose, and they have signs out here during the day. Okay, we will cover that area on our way back. Again, we're going to stay to the right and then come back to the left. So we are now, and look at this, sort of we're in the middle of the ship. Here's your champagne bar, right? Isn't that awesome? I'll tell you what, we're going to do a quick audible. We're going to go back and show you customer service, because as you can see, we're sort of at an end down here. So we're going to have to go up to go down. So we might as well get this all while we're right here, because this was guest relations area. Okay, so here's your guest relations. There you go. Isn't the decor beautiful in the ship? All right, so since we have to go up to go down, okay, we're gonna show you the deck plan one more time so you understand. Right, we have cabins all the way around here. And so when we're in the Grand Plaza, it looks like a dead end. There's stuff going on out here, but you got to get there a different way, okay? And so what we can do is go backwards and get to the cabins, or we can just go up. And so I think we're just gonna go up. Well, why? Let's stay down here. Let's stay down here, because we're gonna go all the way to the back. So this was one of the tricky things that I found on the first day that I was on the ship. I was like, well, wait a minute, you can't get there from here. And then everything was more open to us during the christening cruise, that 2-day thing. We definitely were not at capacity. May have been 1,500, 2,000 people on board, but all the doors were sort of always open. And I'm like, wait a minute, how do we get from here to there? And there was a door that was open, and I went through it, and I'm like, oh, okay. This passenger cabin's back here. We can use it to get from one elevator. See, this big sign here says forward lobby. Okay, so here's the forward elevator shaft. So basically what we've done is we just walked all the way down here. We're now here. As you can see, there's nothing this way. Over here, this is your camp at sea. This is your kids area. Now, we've actually already shown you the inside of this area, but this is how you get to it. All right, so that actually is all of your deck 3. We've seen it all. I didn't spend a lot of time down here in the martini bar area, but we're gonna see a lot more of it when we get to deck 4. So let's go to deck 4. All right, hey there, Tall Man Clan. As you can see, we have moved up to deck 4. Once again, we are in the Celebrity Ascent. See the little red dot right here. We're gonna stay on the right-hand side, just this little section here, and then work our way all the way around, okay? So we'll go over here. As you saw, it was the theater. This theater is unlike any other movie theater that I've seen on a cruise ship. It is absolutely amazing. Did I say movie theater? I think I may have said movie theater. We're tired. I guess you could put movies on in here. It's almost like in the round, but it's not. I mean, obviously the stage is round. That is one gigantic LED wall that does move around a bit. There's a balcony. When we get up to deck 5, we'll come in through the balcony and show you the views from up there. Yeah, this is absolutely stunning. If you've ever wanted to know what it's like to be up on stage as a performer and see what the audience looks like, well, this is what it looks like from the stage. Thank you. I've said it multiple times during our streams and stuff. I come from an entertainment background. I have spent most of my life up on stage. I am more comfortable up on stage than I am in front of a camera. That's all I've got to say. Even though typically when I'm up on stage, the camera's on me, but it's typically never in my face. All right, moving on. All right, here we go. There are stairs, as you can see right here, that get you up to the 5th, as well as on that side, but we'll do that a different way. We'll just do it when we access it from the outside here. All right, so I told you we're gonna sort of always keep right, so we will do that. So when you come out right here, here's a little conference room. Chairs, you got a little bar if you have an event in here. So you're having a private party or maybe even a wedding or something. This might be a good place for that, but it's more corporate space, I would think. Okay. It is called Connect. This is the Connect room. So if, also the meeting place, right? So gather.
There must be an air wall between the two.
Correct. So you know what that is. All right, so let's stay. We can't go straight from there because of how the ship is cut up, but we'll get you in here to the club. The club is where a lot of nighttime stuff goes on, from different shows they have going on, DJs, just all kinds of things happening here.
And fun games.
And the fun games that we were talking about yesterday, they were happening right down here, okay? But I will say this, if there are shows in here that you wanna see, don't come 15 minutes before the show. You're not gonna find a seat. Same thing happens in Eden. There's just not a ton of seating. There's way more seating, I think, in here than there is in Eden. It's tough to see the shows. The theater is okay. There's plenty of seats there, but anyway. So here's the 4th floor of the deck of the club. We'll go up there from the actual deck. Whoa, that was neat.
Yeah.
So this is another entrance into that meeting room, okay? All right, we continue on. We'll end up coming back this way You know what? Since the ship is cut up the way that it is, we'll just get this now. We won't have to come back down here. We'll start at the other end on deck 5. So here are some of your shops. Okay, again, remember we were in the theater. So here's Spirited. Obviously that's for liquors and cigarettes and things. Here's some shirts and sort of your merch store, right? Everything Celebrity Ascent is right in here. Okay, if you're forgotten your fragrances and you need something smelly good, you can get that over here. All your perfumes, different things. Okay. What we started to walk by is your future cruise area. So if you want to book another cruise while you're on board, this would be the spot to do it. Yep. Over here is the studio. Again, the studio. What the studio is, if you want to have like really good photos taking, this door is probably locked. It is locked. In a studio setting, that is behind the door. Okay. They are much more expensive than the normal photos that you get when you're walking around the ship. But let me tell you, it's hard to say if it's worth every penny. But Lisa and I did it in, 2019?
Yeah.
And the pictures they're just amazing. They really are. So we were happy that we spent the money, but it is not an expensive. Okay. Shore excursion area. Remember, you can also do this from the app on your phone. All right. Lots of music going on. Again, public restrooms, right? Well labeled. Okay. Here is your eye lounge and photo gallery, right? Eye lounge and photo gallery. Everything is digital now, right? They're not spreading the pictures out around all the walls now. They're all digital. Okay, so we say we're going to stay to the right. So we're going back to the right side, and we'll eventually come around full circle. All right, so this is Le Voyage, guys. This is like their premier restaurant. It's so premier, it's behind 2 glass doors. And during the day, you can't see in here. Okay, so here's your sort of reception area. I think this was like, what, $125 per person or 150 bucks?
I think it was 125.
125. So if you're wanting a very exclusive and exquisite meal and want to part with $125, that's $125. Sorry, I say $125. $125 per person. Come check out Le Voyage, okay, by Chef Daniel Bullitt. All right, touch to get in. Yeah, you can't see. All right, so staying on the right, here is Le Bistro. Okay, it's open to the grand foyer here, as you can see. So if there's events going on there and you're trying to have some dinner in here, it might be a little bit loud. They do have a lot of activities in that area. And so it could, that noise level sort of filter in here. Oh, you see this? All like pots and pans and things. I mean, it's just kind of neat. I love the ambiance in here. All right, so remember, we're now overlooking the champagne bar, right? So there is a champagne bar. This is down on 3, but there's some stairs that, we can access it from this deck as well, okay? That's where we were just a couple minutes ago. Now, here is your, what's called Craft Social Bar, right? The Craft Social Bar. So if you're into brews, you can get your craft brews here. You also have all kinds of sports playing on all the TVs here. It's kind of like a sports bar, right? You don't call it a sports bar, but it's kind of like a sports bar, right? Now, again, this is always closed, so we can't go this way, So we're forced to go over to the other side of the ship. Right, so this is what I'm talking about with the ship. There's a lot of doubling back and or missing things. This is why I double back, because I don't want to miss something. Because the one time I miss something, that'd be the one thing that you want to see. So we find ourselves doubling back a lot. So here's a little coffee bar right here, guys. There's always a lot of activity down here in the Cafe Al Bacio. Okay, get your coffees down here. Okay, a nice seating area as well, back over here, which filters into over here as well. So there you have that. Some nice music playing on in the background. Now, interestingly enough, this usually is open. I don't know why it's not. Huh, because your shops are back through here. The fire doors are closed. Interesting. I may have been wrong on this side, guys. For some reason, I felt that that door was always closed, but I don't think so. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go, well, I'm just gonna open it. That's what I'm gonna do, just like I did the other one. This is the casino. All right, so we're gonna go through the casino. It's right through here. And there's other guys coming through as well. There you go, gentlemen. All right, so here's your casino. They obviously had that closed for a reason. They're going through things, so we're not gonna really show you anything. We're just gonna cut straight through. It's a decent sized casino. They got your tables over there. Lots of different slot machines, but it's a decent sized casino. Here's the rest of it, just sort of at the entrance. There we go. Close that back up. So yeah, so this side is normally open, just, yeah, they must be doing, I don't know, important things. There's one thing that you're gonna notice about this ship. They pipe a lot of scents around in different decks. We just came through here, and this area has a certain smell to it. Yeah, with the area we're talking about, we're at the back of the ship again. Here's your other two main restaurants. As you can see, that side was called Cyprus, and then this is the Cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan is actually where we had dinner tonight. So we will come in here and show you the Cosmopolitan. Again, all the decor in all the new restaurants here are just great. So during dinner time, it's not as bright. In fact, all over the ship at nighttime, they have the lights typically dimmed quite a bit. You will find if you have eye issues, you're going to be using the light on your phone a lot to read things. It just is it can be a little dark. Now remember, this is the inaugural, so they're still tweaking things. So it's possible that by the time you get on the ship, it may have worked itself out. So here's like a little wine cellar. Just kind of neat. Right, the door, we're not going to go in there. I'm sure it's locked anyway. So there's your Cosmopolitan. So let's go across the other side here and go see Cyprus. There you go, Cyprus. Isn't that neat right there? Like rocks that go up onto the ceiling. It's kind of neat, really. Wow. That took somebody a while to make.
It takes mosaic to a new level.
Right? We're not wearing our mics this morning, so if you didn't hear Lisa, she said that takes mosaics to a new level. All right, so just a different flair in here. Tables had the olive oil on there, which, if we're being truthful, and we always want to be truthful with you guys, we didn't find all that exceptional, meaning the olive oil on the table. We spent just earlier this year a week in Athens. I get more restrooms. Like I said, they're everywhere, everybody. We spent a week in Athens, and the food it's just amazing. More shops. And I can tell you, partially also the olive oil is such a big thing for them. There's olive trees everywhere you look. Yeah, I don't think there is a lever. It just feels so weird about opening these doors. Does it feel weird that we're going through these doors, y'all? Let us know. I'm not sure if it's because of the casinos or the shops. Here's all your watches. But you think so? I don't think any other casinos tie themselves off at night. Like I said, they must be doing something. I don't know. Just don't tell anybody we did that, y'all. It's your secret. So we're back out here in the main lobby area again. So I guess what we'll do is we will see you on the next deck, because we have covered all this. Hope you enjoyed your deck 4. Until we see you on deck 5 or somewhere else, be safe. All right, it's time for some dessert. We've shown you the restaurants. We've already been digging in.
Yes, we certainly did dig in.
Everybody get your dessert. Take a bite. Or 2 bites. No. Some kind of chocolate, something or other. I don't know.
And this coconut cake is really, really good.
Mm. By the way, they were in the casino doing some counting, which is why they had all the fire doors closed. Any access point to the casino, they had closed off, which is why we caught it. I mean, I caught it out of the peripheral of my eyes when we were walking through, and so I just kept the camera away. And I don't know if they saw us or not, but they didn't complain, and we just got out of there as fast as possible. But that's why they had the doors closed. Typically, they would not have the fire doors closed. And let's see, Macrina, you're close. It was 4:30 a.m. We lost an hour. So we got up at 3. When we woke up at 3, it turns out it was 4. So by the time we actually got moving, it was about 4:30. So we do that because we've mentioned before, we try desperately to bring you the cleanest, clearest views that we can possibly get for you. And there's only 2 ways to do it. One, when there's no one on the ship, and that is practically never now, or in the middle of the night when just about everybody's sleeping. So that's what we do. We don't sleep. We sleep during the day. We're like vampires. Anyway, beautiful ship. Yes, Desiree, it is.
Yes.
Before we get into some questions, I want to answer a question from last night. Somebody was asking about wine. The answer is 1 bottle per person per cabin, or 2 bottles per cabin, however you want to look at that. But it's 2 bottles per cabin max of wine that you can bring on. If you're opening it yourself, in your own stateroom, you don't get charged. But if you bring it out, they're going to charge you a corkage fee. Okay. If you have the drinks package, you wouldn't have to pay to have it opened if you're bringing it to dinner. But if you bring wine on board, just drink it in your cabin. You're good to go. All right, Desiree, I don't know about studios for solo travelers. We've taken a note. We will find out tomorrow, and we will bring you the answer tomorrow night, as well as answering a question. Yeah, we stream live every single night, Desiree, when we are on the ships, because we're here bringing it to you one piece at a time. I give you highlights of the days, but I don't want to give you highlights of the entire ship. As you can see from us walking around in this particular ship, it's cut up in kind of a way, which is not a bad thing. It just is a thing. And when you get highlights, you don't see and feel how that is. So we like to give you the 360 walk, right? And to show you exactly, oh, that's a dead end, got to back up and turn around. That way there, if you decide to book the ship, that you actually have a good heads up before you ever get here. Okay. One other comment when we were talking about Cosmopolitan, when we videoed it, it was early this morning. So I said we ate here tonight. That was yesterday. Tonight we actually ate dinner in Tuscan. Now, we're about to do something I haven't done. I didn't load the menus from last night or from today. So I'm going to just try to bring them in. So I'm going to apologize now because I've never tried to do this live. So here we go. Let's see what happens. It's going to be really big. Maybe. There it is. Okay, come on. There we go. We can scroll it down just a little bit. Bring it up over there. Yeah, poor Lisa's covered up.
That's okay. I'll be covered up for a little bit.
Okay, so there's the menu. So each of the restaurants have their own theme. Tuscan, obviously Italian. And so as you're seeing right here, I'll actually blow it up so you can see it some more. These are the things that are offered in the Tuscan restaurant every single night. It's their sort of specialties. That doesn't change. So Cyprus has it. They all have it. Okay, but they're their own different things. Okay, so that was, we actually, Lisa tried the eggplant from here. Let's see here. Go away. We're going to get rid of this now. We're going to grab one of the other ones. There's the other one.
Page 2 of the menu.
Page 2 of the menu. Is it going to load? There it is. So now every restaurant will have this menu at night, right? So every night the menus do change. So when you go into a restaurant, again, say Tuscan, that first menu I showed you, that's going to stay the same every night. The right side of the menu changes. This is the right side of the menu. But every single restaurant will have this at night, okay? We tried the flank steak, and the gnocchi.
Which was really good, both of them.
They were both great.
Yeah.
Lisa didn't like the eggplant. I think the top part was fine, but the bottom, which is this bread that was there.
It was really, really hard. So
hard and tasted burnt, you thought?
Yeah, it did taste a little burnt.
Yep, so she didn't necessarily like that. But I had Caesar and a French onion soup, and the flank steak was delicious. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is that for your menus. And there you have it. So that is your Deck 3, Deck 4, and the menus for the night. Again, today was a sea day, so lots of activities in the ship, which we showed you through the highlights. It's a cruise ship. Respectfully, mostly they all have the same type of activities. Some are different. On yesterday's show, we showed you these interactive sort of games that they're doing, which is brand new to this ship, to any ship for that matter.
Yeah.
They're kind of really neat. Today they had some mini golf, but they don't have a mini golf course, so it was inside the club.
Inside Eden.
They set these little one-holer. It was kind of interesting.
They also had darts, which I've never seen on a ship, and they also had a quarterback challenge, tossing a football. So I thought that was pretty cool as well. I didn't get to get any highlights of that, but yeah, something I haven't seen on another ship.
All right. So when we left you yesterday, we left you with a question to ponder. Let's just get back to some more questions first.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. 4 a.m. labor love. Yeah. And Patricia, thank you so much. We do appreciate that. And that kind of coincides with what Macrina says. We have been cruising, going back to another question, I think, from Desiree. We've been cruising ever since we've gotten married, and we started cruising outside of being with one another before that. So we've been cruising for 30-ish years. Maybe, right? So 60 if we're adding them together.
That's a lot of cruising.
That's a lot of cruising. We'll have done 9 cruises this year, 9 or 10. I don't remember, but somewhere in that area, 9 or 10, 5, 4. 5. It's 9 or 10, and all kinds of different lines, right? The only cruise lines we have yet to do post pandemic is NCL, Disney, and Princess.
And Holland.
And Holland, yeah, in Holland. From sort of the main lines, meaning you've got Carnival, yes. Royal Caribbean, yes. Virgin, yes. We're on Celebrity right now, yes. MSC, we just tried them for the first time. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was great. What else? Oh my gosh.
Does Costa sail around here these days? I don't
No,
think they do. They're
no.
just European,
So,
I believe.
We will get to Princess and the rest of them here shortly, so we can, accurately, because everyone always everyone always asks, what's your favorite cruise line? What's your favorite cruise line? What's your favorite cruise line? They all offer something different. They really do. From Carnival up to Celebrity. I mean, it's you can't talk about Carnival and Celebrity in the same sentence because one's a contemporary cruise line, the other's a premium cruise line. The offerings on a Celebrity ship are completely different than the offerings on a Carnival ship. Service is better, the food is better. There's so many differences. When the next question is, well, what would you recommend for me? Right? People ask us this all the time. Now, so we're not travel agents. We don't have a travel agency. This channel is not to bolster our clientele. We are just avid cruisers. Now, we did used to have a travel agency years ago.
Yeah, it's been at least 10 years.
Yeah, that longer. Yeah,
longer.
So we learned a lot about. Even though we were avid cruisers, we learned a lot more about the cruise industry having the travel agent, the agency. Excuse me. But we closed that down a long time ago, and we just love to cruise and love to bring you cruises. And to Patricia's comment, makes you want to go and go again, right?
Yes.
And so we do our best to get you guys some great footage. Okay?
Yes.
So there was something else, as I was talking about last night, that I left you, and I said we were going to talk about courtesy. My question was, what does that mean to you? And the reason why I mentioned that and brought that up, there was an article that I read off of a blog somewhere. I went back to find it because I wanted to read it to you verbatim. I could not find it. I feel that it has been deleted, which in and itself says something to me because it was sort of a cruise line blog. And it's very frustrating that it was deleted, or if you want to go so far as say censored, right? I don't, we all have experiences, good and bad. And from a cruise line standpoint, if things aren't going well, I'd want to know about it so I could fix it. Okay. However, I think what's going wrong, at least within that particular article, it was all about courtesy, and not courtesy from the cruise line staff to the passengers, but more so passenger to passenger. Courtesy, it's, I swear for most people, it's just non-existent, not just on cruise ships, but everywhere. I mean, just everywhere you go in life, it seems these days that there is no courtesy anymore, which can be very frustrating. I think for us, it might be a little bit more frustrating on a ship because it's more of a microcosm, right? You're all in a confined little space, and mostly all trying to do the same things. And when there's a lack of courtesy, it can boil over quickly. And I know there's some that, create blogs about the lack of courtesy or the intake of mass consumption of alcohol and what that can happen with. But courtesy, let me give you a couple of examples, depending on the cruise line you're on. Elevators or elevator courtesy, right? What seems to be running amok these days are kids. The parents are not parenting. And I'm not pointing anybody out, right? I'm a parent. I have a child that's been raised. And one thing that stuck out to us, it happened to us. We got on an elevator. We were on the lower floor. And parents were on there. There were some kids in there. And their children pressed every single button in the elevator. And what was frustrating to me was they found it cute that their kids had actually done that. They didn't scold them. They didn't correct them. They thought it was cute that they inconvenienced every other person on that elevator trying to get somewhere. Now, the reality is we're on a cruise ship, it's moving and, but if you're late for dinner or getting late for a show and you now got to stop off at every floor because some child pressed every button and the parents let it happen, that is just lack of courtesy, right? You're going to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, in just the lack of concern about it and finding it cute, that's kind of encouraging it to happen. It's not, correction in any way, shape, or form.
Now, of course, the immediate answer is go on a cruise line that has no kids. Absolutely. There's an answer. There's an answer to all these problems, really. But we find the lack of courtesy now just disgusting. In this one article, one of the things that happened to them was on disembark day, right? You got to clear out of your rooms and stuff and all. Got to find somewhere to hang out. We've seen it a lot too. It has happened to us. People think the stairways are a great place to sit to
Yes.
wait for your turn. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, the elevators are crammed. Sometimes in some ships, the elevators are shut off because they're using them for whatever reasons, which makes you take the stairs. And so all of a sudden you come around the corner and you can't get through because there's a bunch of people sitting there. And when you say, excuse me, and they don't move, you say, excuse me again. And when they don't move, when you say, excuse me a third time, and they turn around and give you a look like you're inconveniencing them, this is a problem.
And that's not even necessarily just disembarkation day either. That's during the normal cruise.
Yeah.
I've had that happen to
Yeah.
me.
I'm like,
Yeah.
these are stairs. It's for emergency, not to park your butt there. There are plenty of chairs anywhere else in the ship. But nope, they're going to park their butt right in your way. And if because mind you, most people are carrying luggage on disembark day. You got to keep these spaces clear, y'all. The stairways are not a place to congregate. It's a place to move up and down. It's incredibly frustrating that the lack of courtesy. And like I said, the looks you get when you're asking them to move so you can get down the 3 flights of stairs you need to, that you're inconveniencing them, that they have to get up. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're with us live, let us know in the chat. If you're watching the replay, let me know what you think in the comments.
Let us know if it's happened to you.
Yeah. Lines. Look, you're on a ship with 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people, depending on the size of your ship. There's got to be some lines. There's no way around it. The ships that are laid out nicely, the lines are down to a minimum, but there are going to be some lines. For gosh sakes, I don't care what the line is. Let's say it's a line for customer service, okay? Everybody that's standing in that line has a problem and or a question, right? So, and please don't take my comment the wrong way, but if you come up, 3 people behind me, honestly, I don't care what your problem is. It's no more important than my problem. That's why I'm standing in line. So if you get out of line and cut all the way to the front, just say, excuse me, I have a quick question. Well, what do you think the rest of us have? We all freaking have quick questions. Stand your butt back in line like everybody else. I just, no courtesy or common sense, right? And you can take that like to the buffet. And I'm going to give just an asterisk here, right? So they have lines, right? There's food. And in a lot of cases, you'll grab your plate and your silverware at one end and you work your way, across the buffet, okay? Now, let's say, there's 30 things on that buffet and you don't want the first 29, but you want the 30th thing. Personally, I have no issue with somebody walking up to the 30th thing and looking at the person there and say, would you mind? I just want this cookie. I don't need the other 29. Is that okay? It was an ask. And if I'm the one close, no, not a problem. Get a cookie. Go ahead. It's great. But guess what? Nobody does ask. They just push themselves in, grab what they want to grab, and inconvenience everybody else. So for God's sakes, it's rampant. It's not Carnival. It's not Royal. It's not Celebrity. It's not Princess. It's freaking everywhere. Lack of courtesy. For God's sakes, people, just have a little courtesy for your fellow human being, right? We're all standing there. There's a reason why we're all standing there. Oh, Yeah, theater courtesy. So some cruise lines, this is one of them. They have encouraged us to video the shows and put them on our social media sites, whether you've got Facebook or Instagram or, InstaFace, whatever you want to call these things. X. Twitter can't be Twitter anymore. Now it's X, right? But they all say, but do not put your flash on. Do not put your light on. Do you know how many of these flashes and lights I see during every show? Yeah, again, I told you, performer on stage. When you're on a swaying ship and you're doing acrobatics or different things and up in the air, and people put the light in flat. Look, all the theater lights, if you will, are aimed in a way that doesn't blind the artists if they're doing something dangerous. Well, you up in chair 329, section F, shining your light directly into their face, they may miss a grab and get hurt because of it. So for God's sakes, people, common sense, you've been warned. If you're going to turn your phone on, look at it and make sure your damn light's not on. You don't even have to look at it. Trust me. If you turn it on, the light's on, it's going to light up everything in front of you. Turn it off. There's just no courtesy, right? And for God's sakes, if you come into a show 5 minutes before it starts, you're not going to get seating down in the front. Or if you're late in the movie, Tony from La Lita Loca talks about this. It's his biggest pet peeve. The show has just started, and you're going to come racking in with your 4 people trying to push down into the front and blocking everybody at the same time. This is what I talk about courtesy. It's just rude, people. I don't. It just doesn't comprehend. I don't know if it's because I was brought up differently or what. I don't. It just doesn't comprehend what is going through people's mind that they think it's okay to do that. Somebody please help me out. Leave a comment. What is it? Were they just not brought up right? Or do they just not care? Either way, stop doing it, please. For the love of God. Please. Right? In this article that I was mentioning right before I started talking about this, they have decided, this husband and wife, they're never going to cruise again because the experience they had with the lack of courtesy. I mean, it was like a 3-pager, man. Their entire cruise was filled with discourteous things from passengers. It went on and on and on and on. And I felt so bad for this couple who enjoyed cruising. They're never going to go again. That sort of was the postscript. And we've decided never to go again.
I was thinking the same thing, Macrina. 2,900 square feet.
Right? Book that cabin and never leave it. Moving around the ship. Okay. So, cruise ships are filled with people from all different countries and different places. Most countries drive on the right side of the road. And oddly enough, most people walk on the right side of roads and stuff. It's just driving and walking kind of go hand in hand. Okay. Now, just like driving a car, people drive their cars at all different speeds. Some adhere to the speed limits, some too fast, some too slow. It is what it is. Okay. Well, people walk the same way. Now, again, for the love of God, I know you all know out there what pace of walking you walk at, okay, and or your party. So if your walk speed is like neutral and you're waiting for a gust of wind to push you forward, have some common courtesy and do that to the far right. Because the people who are in first and second gear, they're going to knock you over. But also remember, there's people coming the other way. Right? It just the traffic jams people cause in public areas because
you're walking 4 wide at a turtle's pace.
Yeah, man, stack that crap up on the right side. I don't know. Again, is this just me? Or do you all get this too? Right? Should this be that hard? You know, if you have mobility issues, again, God bless you. I understand. I really do. You know, at some point in my life, I may have those challenges as well. But you can't go zigzagging. Pick a side. I don't care any side. Pick one. Not all of them. Oh my God.
2,900 square feet.
Dinner courtesy. This is an interesting one. So, the dining experience on a cruise ship, I would consider fine dining. Okay? Whether it's the food is fine dining or not is not part of this conversation, but it's fine dining. Here, I'm going to bring another picture in for you guys here. Hang on. Let me go back to the menu. Go back to the menu. All right, where is this picture? Hang on. Like I said, I wanted to show this to you. All right, here we go. Get up in there. Oh, that's too big. Come on. All right, so fine dining. There you go. So when you step into a restaurant, a fine dining restaurant, on a cruise ship, but even in a regular world, right? But we're going to talk about a cruise ship. This is sort of what a basic place setting looks like. You got multiple forks, and you got multiple knives, and your napkin is there, and all this stuff. And anyway, so this is a picture, just one setting, right? Let me give you the other picture. This is a four or a two top, right? Oh. Okay. So now there typically are not classes about this, but I promise you the information is all out there. So, but when you're looking at this, note, where's the bread dish? Which is a little dish down there with the little bread knife there, right? It is on your left.
And the glasses are on the right.
And the glasses are on the right, okay? Proper table etiquette, your bread dish is to the left, okay? And then there's your different knives and things and forks, okay? Hang on. What gets confusing and challenging is this. What's what?
Which one's yours?
Which one's yours? Nothing's changed, okay? Table etiquette. When you sit down, your bread dish is to the left, okay? Don't grab the one on the right because you're a righty. All you've done is screwed up the entire table, right? If somebody's seating you and there's already two people there, and most people travel in groups of two, mostly, don't leave one chair and then sit in the next two. You gotta just it's crazy. It's a small funny little thing, but it's crazy. Just proper etiquette, proper courtesy.
2,900 square feet.
Right? I got one more for dinner. When you sit down at it, and I don't have an answer to this, so this is another question I pose to you. When you go to a fine dining restaurant, again, we're talking about cruise ships now, cruise ships, whose job is it to put the napkin in your lap? You think it's funny, but whose job is it? When you sit down and you got your chair and then the waiters push your chair in, right? Is it your job to grab the napkin and put it in your lap? Or is it the waiter's job to put the napkin in your lap? Leave it in the comments below if you're watching the replay or if you're watching us now in chat. I want to know what you think. Is it the waiter's job or is it your job? Because interestingly enough, table the other night next to us, first of all, they went to seat this group of four at another table, and I just happened to catch it, and it was close to a door. And they're like, no, we're not sitting there. You got to put us somewhere else. I'm like, it was a door. It wasn't.
Tonight it was a wall.
That's not even a wall.
Sitting next to the wall. I know it was a divider.
It's just a divider. Yeah. So anyway, they ended up sitting them right next to us. I'm like, okay, now I get a closer view of this. And so they sat down, and the menus were handed to them. No napkins moved off of any of the four people. And they're looking at the menus, and they put the menus down. The menus are still open. Of course, now the menus are on top of their napkins. And the conversation with the couples now commence. About 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes into this, water has shown up, bread has showed up, all this stuff. Napkins still on the table. None of the four of them touched them. It took until the waiter came back to get their order, and the waiter physically had to move the menus out of the way to grab their napkins to put them on the lap for them. So again, what I don't, it just does not compute. Is it the waiter's job to put the napkin on your lap, or is it your job? Leave a comment below. I think it's your job to put your napkin on your lap. That's just me. And again, I'll look it up in fine dining etiquette. I'll look it up when we're done with the stream, so I'll see what, the etiquette teachers of the world have to say about it. But I just think that's common courtesy. You put your own napkin in your own lap. I don't know. I don't know. All right, what are y'all talking about here? Let's see.
We've got lots of comments.
I know.
Here.
You've been cruising since May /R, teaching that behavior. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. Behavior is a learned thing, and they learn it mostly, I'd probably say 95% of the time, from their parents. Sometimes it's from other people's parents, because parent A may not be around. But, interestingly enough, my mom and dad, so, by the way, so you understand, I mentioned this last night, Lisa and I, we're not well off. We didn't come from, families that have trust funds and all these things. My mom and dad both worked multiple jobs. And as I grew up, so did I. We work hard for what we have and what we do, right? And so nothing was given to either of us. We have to go earn it. And so, but in this context, that meant that I was alone a lot because they were working.
Yeah, my mom worked a late night shift, so I'd come home from school. Dad would still be at work, and Mom would have just left.
Yeah,
and I was there by myself for a couple hours before my father came home.
Right, but I at least understand what side of the table your bread dish goes on. No pressing all the buttons. I don't know.
If you're gonna move slow, get out of the way.
For God's sakes. Just a little common courtesy, right? It's just really
2,900 square feet.
Yeah, entitlement, Macrina, and that may be the one word that sums it all up. Just everybody feels entitled, which is just a crock of crap.
Yeah.
It really is, right? I'm again metering my words because the four letters, that's all that comes to my brain right now. All of them. Beep. Just put them all in there. What? That's how I feel. It said they won't cruise again because it's not the cruise experience; it's the human experience.
Yeah.
You're exactly correct. And unfortunately, with that one particular article, with that one couple, it wasn't just one thing. If the complaint was all about kids, again, the answer: go cruise on a ship that doesn't have kids, like Virgin. It's adult only. Oceania, right? Mm-hmm. They're more expensive, but if you love cruising and you just can't stand the kids, do that. But look, we've been on cruise lines before. As MSC, we were just on MSC. And the kids there wasn't as many, and they were very well behaved.
Yeah.
And so we're on Celebrity right now. It's obviously an inaugural cruise. I've only seen two kids on the ship.
2 kids is all I've seen too. Yeah.
And I saw them at the show last night, and they were very well behaved. So there are plenty of kids out there that are well behaved. We're not saying they're all bad. Please don't take me wrong. So you parents out there that have schooled your kids and educated your kids and
Thank you.
and teaching them, if you will, right from wrong and common courtesy. God bless you. Really, you're the heroes. You really are. Unfortunately, we are all probably minority here, right? It's the others that let their kids go rampant, and or the ones that are with them and still find it cute. That is more upsetting than the ones running by themselves. Because again,
agreed.
Kids by themselves, sometimes kids will be kids. They're by themselves. Mom and dad aren't there to whatever. They should know better. But anyway.
Yeah, but when mom and dad are encouraging it, that's not so fun.
Macrina, walkers on the left, standing on the right like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard, right?
This.
Yeah. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah, that's exactly correct, Macrina. It's the horn.
Oh, and it's, Macrina agrees it's her job to move the napkin, put it on her lap.
Yeah. I don't know, y'all.
That's what we thought.
Common courtesy. Where the hell is it gone?
Yeah.
I guess they checked it at home when they left. You know, something we've talked about for years. We live in Central Florida, and of course, the theme parks are huge there. And it is amazing to me. The people come down, rent a car, and because they're on vacation, they have literally forgot how to drive. I don't know. I mean, there's the signs in these areas are very well done, so it's not hard to follow around. Plus, these days with GPS on your phone, I mean, it takes you where you want to go. We, at all costs, stay away from these areas as much as possible because they come on vacation and they literally leave their driving skills back from wherever they came from. She's laughing. The sad thing, it really isn't funny. It's dangerous. It's what it is. Crazy people coming from 4 lanes over to make a turn. And you can tell it's a rental car. I mean, we can tell it's rental cars here where we're. It's somebody on vacation. They're not paying attention. They don't have the GPS. I don't know, but it obviously is like that with cruising. For those who do have common sense, they forgot to pack it. Please don't forget to pack your common sense. Just, please. All right. Anyway, I think that's about it.
Is the rant over? You feel better now?
Yeah, mostly.
2,900
square feet. God, I wish I could afford that 2,900 square feet.
I know. Wasn't that beautiful?
Wow.
Actually, I think I like the loft.
The loft?
I think I like
really?
the loft.
That plunge pool?
Yeah.
If y'all are watching this and don't know what we're talking about, our stream last night, we covered 13 plus cabins on this ship. It was really 13 and a half. We talked about our cabin a little bit. It's like some of the other infinite balconies we covered. The only difference is we have a full sofa instead of the chaise lounge. Chaise lounge. But the Edge Villa is 2 stories. It's got its own plunge pool. It's incredible. If you missed that, you got to go back and watch that.
And that's also where the 2,900 square feet's coming from.
Yeah, the iconic suite. The iconic suite.
Huge.
The biggest and best cabin on the ship is called the iconic suite. It's literally 2,900 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We lived in Florida for years, and my husband always said tourists and passed them by in their day. So you know exactly what we're talking about, Macrina. If it's a 10-minute detour, we will take it just to stay away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy drivers. Bring your driving skills with you. Just use them for the time you need them while you're in the car, and then when you get out of the car and you get to the park and you're on the buses and the trams there, great, forget about it then. But if you gotta get behind the wheel, just just remember. Okay, so yeah, we covered a lot tonight. Obviously, decks 3 and 4. We had a little bit of a rant. Thank you so much for
thanks for listening.
Listening.
He feels better now.
I do. But tomorrow we are in St. Martin.
Yes, woohoo!
The ship comes to a stop for its very first stop, and so we'll get you some views from St. Martin. We'll also show you at least deck 5. So as course, make sure that where did it go? Where did it?
What are we looking for?
Just what happens to my screens? Look at that. It's all the way over there. How did it end over there? It's this computer. I swear. I love this computer, but it just does not love me. Yes. So what I was looking for was this. Hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, hit the notification bell. That'll give you a notification every time we're coming live. It is usually around 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sometimes it's going to be a little early. Sometimes it'll be a little bit later. But 95% of the time, we're going to come to you at 8 o'clock Eastern time, show you some of the day's events as well as parts of the ship. We are on it for the full inaugural, 7 days, obviously. I got it here a couple days prior. And so we are covering the ship from forward to backwards, top to bottom, left to right. There won't be anything that we miss. Knock on wood. And you'll have been able to see it. Okay? So on that note, Floridians, let me see here. Floridians' favorite car accessories is the horn. Even now, when it comes to courtesy and patience, it's funny. The light will go green, and within a split second, they're already on the horn these days.
Yeah.
Look, I understand if it's been 3 or 4 seconds and somebody's been playing on their phone and not paying attention, but
the light just changed.
Yeah,
you don't have to blow your horn. We all saw it.
There's a certain amount of time that it takes to take the foot off the brake, put it on the gas, press, and car move forward. There's a process. Thank you. This takes, at least a second. And people's response times are a little bit different. This isn't a drag race where there's a tree where it goes, this isn't that. So when it goes green, it's like, oh, green, push. It's a second. So just 2 seconds before you start blowing the horn. After 2 seconds, blow that horn all you want. But at least give it 2 seconds. It's crazy. We don't have that problem with the cruise ship. It's just only when it's foggy, then they blow the horn all the time.
Macrina, do you like
Ho Beach?
Yeah.
Yeah. Florian's favorite
St.
accessory.
Martin.
St. Martin, sorry. What did I say?
Maho Beach.
Well, yeah.
Maho Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maho Beach. Oddly enough, we haven't figured out what we're doing yet tomorrow. We're horrible cruisers. We haven't picked an excursion yet. We've been to all these places we've been to so many times. So these days we just tend to get off and walk around, check out some stuff, and enjoy the port area a little bit. Excuse me, and then get back on the ship.
Hi, Larry.
Hey, Larry.
We're always wild.
Wild and crazy guys. Blah,
Just
blah,
sometimes
blah.
a little bit more full of it than others.
Yeah. Just courtesy and being nickel and dime. It's just been a lot of that the last couple of weeks. Just been building up. Mark, if you're ever watching this, we talked about you last night too. About the upcharges. So anyway, Larry's a good friend of ours. We've known Larry for years. He's a long time Royal Caribbean celebrity cruiser. And so he and his friend Mark, actually, they're going to be with us on our next cruise.
Yes.
We are so excited. We've never been on a cruise with Larry before. And so we are so excited. We may have to twist his arm.
We may have a guest appearance.
And have some extra chairs.
Yeah, we might have to get him on the YouTube channel for sure.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly where you're talking about now. I couldn't remember the name. You are correct. I've actually performed on St. Martin before and stayed at one of the hotels that was right there. We just come out on our little hotel balcony and watch the people hanging onto the fence as the planes are trying to blow them back into the water.
The get blown from the sand from the jet engines.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's a thing, right? There's all kinds of videos on YouTube about it. The planes turn, they got it full throttle on their engines to take off, and the fence line is not very far behind where them planes are, and that exhaust. If you've got some rough skin, by the time you're done, it'll be smooth.
Exfoliation.
Yes. And it doesn't
jet exfoliation.
Yes. Jet blasts. Yes. There's another interesting beach, and I know I'm sure a lot of videos on there, is on St. Bart's.
Yeah,
I think it's St. Bart's. Again, I played a gig there. It's a tiny little island. The airport is this tiny little airport. There's these two. You're dive bombing the runway because at one end,
between two mountains.
You got to come between this peak. Yeah, between a peak with the plane, but you're coming down at this kind of angle, and the runway starts at the base of the mountain. The other end of the runway is the ocean. So and there's pictures. There's a road at the top of that peak where the planes come through, and you can see when the planes are coming over, they all but touch the tops of the cars. And it's not perspective. It is really that close. And they're small planes. So when you're, one of the passengers in the plane and the pilot does this, you're looking out the front of the cockpit. It is the only time in my life I have gotten off a plane, fell to my knees, and kissed the ground. And there was another passenger on that same plane that did the same thing as me, because it's literally you are dive bombing. You think you're going to smash into it, and at the last second they pull up, the wheels hit, and they're immediately on the brake, because if you don't brake, you're going to be in the ocean on the other end. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up St. Bart's Airport. There's tons of videos on YouTube about it.
Crazy.
It is crazy. The only other way to get to an island, that island, is by boat, which is the only way I'm ever going again. I am not flying. Of course, the pilot's laughing the entire time as we're all, ah! And he's like, I'm like, they need to put a camera at the front of the plane looking backwards and sell those videos to the people.
True.
It's better than a roller coaster. Or worse, I don't know, whatever you want to say. All right. We've had enough. I know you've had enough. Until we see you tomorrow night on the cruise ship here, brand new, Celebrity Ascent. You have a good night.